Good morning. Happy Friday. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, Chum Change. This is live recorded. And for anybody that's new here, we just go over crypto news, anything that I missed the day before with everybody in the chat. I'd normally be doing this by myself. All right, let's see who's here and then we'll get into this. We have Chris Hanley. Good to see you, buddy. Charles Harris. Good to see you. Andrew Masad, All Track, Alvidus. Good morning. Good morning, Nerd Beast. Ovalboard Tech. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Mr. Steven, Crypto Escort, Crypto Frank, my man. Appreciate you, buddy. Adam Williams, here by service. Good to see you as a pirate. Everybody else I may have missed, I appreciate you. Thanks for being here. All right, let's get into this market, and then we're going to get into the greatest show on earth from Mr. Anthony Pompliano. The stock market has been invited to. It's actually pretty awesome quote that he said yesterday on CNBC television. So we'll get into that and yeah, go from there. Bitcoin 44,000. Look at that. Looks like we had quite the shakeout from 45 down to 42.5 up to 44. Pretty much showing these stock market folks what Bitcoin's all about. Absolutely a shakeout. That's absolutely what we saw. We have Ethereum at 2250. Look at Dogecoin's 8 cents. Things are in the red a little bit, but it's honestly not too bad. Solana's $101. Filecoin's down to $6, down $5.69 on the day. We have Kaspa in the deeper green today at 11.2. Pretty good. ETC is under 20 bucks.
This hash rate's going bonkers.
That was the wrong soundbite. That was the wrong soundbite. But hash rate is going bonkers. All right, let's see. We have Tia. I think it's Celestia. $16. 10% up on the day. Let's see. Litecoin still a very undervalued $65, at least in my opinion. All right, let's show crypto bubbles. See what we're looking like on the day. Hopefully, man, that thing bounced around quite a bit this morning. Render down 5.9% on the day. Who are we looking like price wise? $4.15. Not too bad. Mr. Here by Service for the $4.99 super chat. Good morning, Misfits. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate you keeping the stream alive. We have Osmosis 13.2% up on the day, $1.82. This is Celestia again, 11.9% up on the day. Kaspa is up 7.7%. This Sia coin, which has been trending the last couple days, actually is down 10.4% today at 72 cents. Not too bad though, not too bad. Ranked 47, still doing pretty well overall. We have Pancake Swap. Look at this, 85, ranking 85, $3.09. If you guys have any questions, obviously feel free to ask in the chat. If there's any coins you guys would like to look at, we can obviously do that as well. Let's see, what else we got? Nothing really else is sticking out to me. Adam, $10.48 down, or sorry, up 4% today. Yeah, that's really it. Let's check out the Fear and Greed Index, looking like 72. 72 is not too bad. Again, we don't really get too concerned unless it's over 75. That's really where things start getting greedy. All right, let's check out top 10 coins by coin market cap over on CoinGecko. We have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, Solana, XRP, USDC, Lido Staked, Ether, Cardano, and Avalanche. Dogecoin still in 11th, a little bit under Avalanche, about 1.6 or so billion underneath the market cap. Not too bad. Dogecoin, I mean, obviously Avalanche deserves the 10th spot over a meme coin at the end of the day. We have Internet Computer still at 18th. Let's see, Shiba's in 19th, Litecoin in 22nd. Again, man, I really do think Litecoin is just super undervalued. $65 a steal. It's definitely, I don't like to say definitely, but at the same time, I don't want to give financial advice, so it's not financial advice, but Litecoin runs up stupid high all the time. Like $300 is not out of the realm of possibilities in the next bull run. Let's see, we have Injective 29th. Monero has flipped ETC again, 33 and 35. These two just continue to flip, and Lido's like in the middle. It's always monkey in the middle. Look at this. We got $2.8 billion market caps. They're only off by like 20 million each. So it's kind of interesting to see those bounce around. Kaspa got back in the top 30, which is pretty good. Oh, sorry, top 40 rather. We have 38th place for Kaspa. Not too bad. $2.5 billion market cap. Let's see what the biggest earners are of the day over here, according to CoinGecko. Let's see, price. Let's do last. We'll do last 24 hours, I guess. Osmosis again. Actually, no, let's do the last hour. That's better. Let's do the last hour, because I think we already see the last 24 and the last two sites we looked at. So Lido, it looks like it's in the first spot, 4.1% up. We have Sia has jumped up in the last hour, 1.9%. Sats Ordinals, interesting. I don't think I've ever seen this one. I don't think I've ever seen this. 1.6%. We have Ton up 1.4%. Man, Ton coin still 16th place, man. Their market cap's still big, but it's like I feel like they kind of fell off the planet. I don't know. Strange. Arbitrum, we have 1.4% up on the day. Arbitrum's actually been doing pretty good, and so is Alethioum. Actually, Alethioum has been actually doing really well. Had a huge run up yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. It was up like 40% or something. Yeah, it's $1.51. Jeez, man, that's crazy. Totally should have gotten on that. Let's see. I still remember dual mining Ton with the LHR stuff. Oh man, LHR. It seems like it was so long ago at this point. It really does. Alethioum's doing really well though. Crazy. It had a huge run up yesterday. Let's see. Actually, you know, I can just stay in the 24 hours because it's still right there. No, it's not. I lied. Wasn't it closer to $1? Not wrong. It was. Last couple days. So the first of the year it was at 90 cents. It's had a run up to $1.60 as of the 4th yesterday. Yeah, so yesterday it had a nice run up from almost $1.07 to about $1.60. That's crazy. Damn. Big move for Alethioum. Nice. Let's see honey. If you guys don't know the Hivemapper, if you guys are interested, down in the description below, this is going to be getting on Coinbase. Hopefully it's in the process of getting approved to be on Coinbase. Not definitely going, but it's close to a sure thing. So I'm anticipating it. I hope it happens, and I hope this coin just completely pumps or skyrockets, because it already has. We've seen it before. It actually, on the news of Coinbase possibly listing it, it actually increased the price by 50%. It was like 11 cents or 12 cents yesterday. I mean, sorry, 3 days ago. So 22 cents is pretty good, and this thing's had a run up all the way to 37, even though it doesn't show it here on CoinGecko. As you can see, all-time high 37 cents. It was freaking killing it, absolutely killing it. And again, this thing is like a dash cam. Basically, you put in your car, and basically acts like Google Maps. Some AI driven stuff, right? It's a definite maybe, says Carlco. Yes, absolutely. Mr. Matt Electron is here. Good to see you, buddy. Appreciate you. He has actually made a killing off of honey. I think, what did you make? How much? What's the most you've made in a week with honey, Mr. Matt Electron? Was it $1,000? $1,000 in a week, which is freaking insane. Or it was like $1,200 or something. Tell us in the chat, because it was absolutely impressive. All right, let's see. KLS, check out Carlson, just because miners. We're gonna get into the mining segment of things right here. I want to see. So Carlson, oh jeez, that's pretty bad. Under 3 cents. Let's check out Pyron. Pyron has actually been pretty profitable, to be honest, not gonna lie. It was closer to 6 or 7 cents yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. It's at 5 cents right now, but it's still doing pretty profitable. $1,800, Matt Electron, you made in a week? What? Perfect. That is insane. I thought it was like 11 or 12. I didn't know it was 18. Holy shit, man, you made rent. You made a mortgage payment in 1 week with honey. That's absurd. He has two Hivemappers, one pointing out the right window, one going straight on, and yeah, he's made an absolute killing. So shout out to Mr. Matt Electron. All right, let's get over here again. Mining segment of things. WinMiner K9 still on the top of the charts, 10.3 terahashes, looking like $96.21 per day. Pretty close to as it was yesterday. Yeah, again, it's kind of crappy, but at the same time, it's still a lot of money for a single miner at the end of the day. It really is. Truck driving for the win. Yeah, Matt Electron, this is the first time in your life you can say that. This is the first time. No, it's true though. You made a killing on honey. I'm happy for you, man. That's absolutely nuts. We have the Ice River KS3 8 terahash unit, $73 a day. The KS3M is making $52 a day. At least it's over 50. It was under 50, so all right, that makes me feel a little bit better. KS2 2 terahashes is under $20. Kind of terrible. 1734. Jazzminer X16P. I should be getting my hands on this hopefully in the next couple weeks. It'd be awesome. I want to test this thing out, do some solo mining. I'm actually solo mining ETC on my Jazz miners right now, and I have not hit a block yet. Today's the 5th day. I have not hit a block. 5.8 gigahashes. ETC and ZIL is the most profitable. Looks like this thing's making $14 a day. This is a 10 cents kilowatt hour, by the way, if anybody's wondering. The Bitmain KA3 166 terahash. Look at that. It looks like we're making it $10.66 a day on this one. Not too bad. This one kind of fell off a cliff. This right here, this KA3 was the top of the charts way back. What, about a year ago or so, before it just completely killed the network? And it just tanked and turned into like a nothing burger, which is unfortunate, but is what it is. I feel bad for everybody that got on that hype, but is what it is. Antminer L7. This is my unit that I sent down to Terra Hosting, and I cannot wait to get it up and hashing. 523 per day. I want to get back on mining Litecoin. That is one of my goals this year. Getting Litecoin, a stack of Litecoin, a stack of Neoxa. I want to get my Neoxa master node going. I have the Jasminer X16P again. This is one of my units that are actually solo mining, making $4 a day. Well, not really. I'm definitely losing out on this one, but again, solo mining, you get nothing unless you hit a block. So $4.76 a day with 10 cents kilowatt hour if you're pool mining. That's what's that thing's making. Oh, actually, hold on. Where is it? Right here. And I purchased one of these 2 days ago. Bitmain S19K Pro, 120 terahashes. Purchased this because I think that the Bitcoin miners are going to go absolutely bonkers when it comes to the I stole Max Voltage's word, by the way, but yes, I think that it's going to go absolutely insane price wise in the bull run. So I'm going to mine on it until I can just flip it for a profit. $3.70 a day. Again, hosting it at Terra Hosting. If you guys are interested, link is in the description. We have Ice River KS0 Pro. I have 8 of these units right next to me on the floor, making 17 Kaspa a day, almost 18, and $1.78 per day. It's kind of sad, but it's 100 watts. I can't really complain. Yes, I got the K, not the XP, Mr. Fully Electric. I was mistaken when I said it to you. It was the K. It was the K, so that was my bad. We have the original Ice River KS0, 100 gigahashes, looking like 85 cents a day. Oh. Bruh. That's terrible. That's terrible. But I got mine upgraded to the 120. That's the only firmware version that it will take. What is this one? What is this one? Baikal Giant plus A2000 2 gigahertz. What is this? I've never even heard of this. What is this? Does anybody know what this unit is? Can this go away? Oh my god, why is this here? There should be an X. Why is there no X? Mind the ASIC, get your shit together. That was awful. I've never seen this unit. This thing's weird. It's tiny. What is this? Does anybody know? Send me your miners you don't run. Oh my god, I have a lot of miners I don't run, actually, unfortunately. It sucks. It's a toaster. It looks like a toaster, doesn't it? Man, that's crazy. 84 cents a day. It looks tiny. How many watts does this thing pull, actually? Where does it say? 400 430 248. What is this? X11 430. That's dash. Interesting. Yeah, I've never heard of this unit. Neato. All right, let's see. GPUs. Let's see what the top of the list is today, and then we'll move on from here. Oh boy, Hypera and Lithium, top of the charts for GPUs. Looks like the RTX 4090 again is yeah, always on top, but holy shit, everything is there except for the 7900X. You know, AMD is always they're always the odd man out with like the one coin that's profitable on these versus like Nvidia. AIPG still holding strong over here for that, but everything else looks like Hypera and Lithium. Oh, look at that. We have the 3090 Ti actually, and the 170HX, and then the Radeons. Sorry, the AMD's 7900 XTs. AIPG. Interesting. Is anybody mining this Hypera? Anybody in the chat? Let's see. Do you think you have GPU mining lack of interest? Just make life easier just to run ASICs, says Dan R. I do. No, because I mean, I'm running GPUs. I have my farm on over at Terra, but it's only because it's profitable. I actually had them off for like a year, like pretty much a year, and it is very it's tough to stay interested with these coins if they don't hold up and they don't have legs to stand on, right? Like again, like, you know, Pyron, for me, it's not a hold. I'm just flipping out of it. We have again Carlson KLS right here. This is one of those coins that we were mining on GPUs, and it was super profitable until unMineable added it, and you could just auto convert it to whatever. So what they're doing is you're mining this hash and it's going right to them. they're swapping it and giving you what you want in the background. So there's just like no exchange in the middle for you. They are the exchange, right? So once unMineable did that, this coin just kind of went to shit, as you guys can see. Let's go to the max. Look, it had huge run up, and then just took a dump. But yeah, like I don't like chasing coins like this. It's like, oh my god, the hype's awesome, and then friggin' like a day later it dies, or like a week later. This thing survived like less than a week, and it was just done. For me, yeah, that excitement's gone until the bull run happens, where things actually, you know, go up and stay up. Then it's a different story. Yeah, obviously the fun will come back. Hyper is a sleeper. You know what, Hyper, I've never looked into it. I've seen it a few times though. Oh shit, it's up 47% today. 47.3. Jeez, 13 cents. Let's see, what's the max? By the way, these charts are ass on CoinGecko. This thing just got listed on CoinGecko Tuesday, 2nd of January. It was at 8 cents. Now it's at 13. Pretty big run up. So it's all-time highs right now, right? Or close to right now. About an hour ago 13.7. Interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna have to see. I don't know anything about this coin. I know nothing about it. Done. XEgg and Trade Ogre. Look at that. So you guys can, I'm assuming, mine directly to Trade Ogre for this. That's what I'm doing for Pyron. All right, time to get into this. I want to hear what Mr. Anthony Pompliano has to say with all of you lovely people here. Guys, appreciate you for hanging out. Smash that like button. Wall Street is getting invited to the greatest show on earth. Quotations from Mr. Anthony Pomp. Let's do it.
Traders are on alert as we get closer to the SEC's January 10th deadline to approve spot Bitcoin ETFs. Joining us now with more on the various regulatory outcomes that could impact crypto trades, Anthony Pompliano, founder and partner at Pomp Investment. Anthony, good to see you this morning.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So I have to just dial back. I go back to when the SPY was listed 30 plus years ago. I covered it then. The USO, the oil ETF, the gold trust in 04 and 06. There was never anything like this anticipation. We don't talk about ETF launches and who the authorized participants are. This is bureaucratic back office stuff. That's just how the trades function. So all of which is to say the degree of anticipation of this and how it's made its way into the market is extreme. How is it not just a anticlimax when it happens?
Wall Street is getting invited in anticipation of the greatest show on earth. Right? Bitcoin has been the best performing asset for the last 15 years, and Wall Street's basically been boxed out of it. They haven't had access to this asset. And so I think that's what you're seeing in that pent up excitement. One thing that I do caution these Wall Street investors is you can't trade this like other assets. We saw just yesterday about $1 billion of open interest got wiped out. The guys over at Reflexivity Research did a fantastic job outlining, saying, you know, this asset in 2021 went up almost 800% from before the pandemic started to the kind of the top of the market. Yeah. During that time, there was 30% drawdowns. If you're going to try to get levered long and think that, hey, ETF gets approved and this thing just goes to the moon, you're likely to get shaken out or get liquidated.
That is really good advice.
Oh, man. You know what? Yeah, he's so right. The stock market people that are so used to stocks, they're going to get wrecked during this whole ETF thing if they're trying to trade Bitcoin.
Just beware the volatility.
I mean, this thing is on a risk-return basis, it's by far the most attractive asset in all the financial markets, but it comes with tons and tons of volatility. And so if you go back to 2017, it was $1,000. We're up 45x since 2017. But along the way, we've had 80% drawdowns, a plethora. I can't even count how many, 30+% drawdowns. And so Wall Street is saying, hey, the ETF's coming. Here we go. Now, I do think over a long period of time, Bitcoin's price is going to continue to go up. We're going to have a persistent.
No, the stock market's never seen anything like this. An 80% drawdown is like unheard of. And then like coming back up to like, where it was. It's crazy. They're going to get so screwed.
Bid from all these ETFs. Another thing people aren't talking about, everyone's talking about the primary fund flows. So retail or institutions buying this ETF. But actually what we're starting to see now is other publicly listed funds or ETFs are changing their prospectus to say that they can put up to 15% of their AUM in the Bitcoin ETF. So if you have the best performing asset and you got an ETF that's lagging, why would you not put Bitcoin in your ETF?
But all of this really formalizes the greater fool aspect of why Bitcoin should go up, right? It's just there are more people who are going to get in there and buy, and they have a new easy way to do it. Meanwhile, it's easier to own Bitcoin directly than it was to own a barrel of oil or a gold bar or a futures contract. When those things were introduced, it didn't change the overall price curve.
I think there's 2 points that you're making.
That's actually very true. It's easier to own than a barrel of oil. I mean, yeah, you're not gonna put that in your basement. That'd be real fun.
First is, when you buy the ETF, you are not buying Bitcoin. You are buying exposure to Bitcoin. But if you want to actually own Bitcoin, take self-custody, you should definitely go do that and not do it through the ETF.
That was the best thing I've heard, actually. Wow, I'm actually shocked you just said that. It's so true. So BlackRock, the entire thing behind it, you guys have heard me say it 1,000 times, but BlackRock, if anybody's new here, what they're doing is they're going to control the Bitcoin that you're, you know, entitled to, I guess they would say, right? They're going to give you a piece of paper that says, trust me, bro, you got this much. And they have your Bitcoin in the background holding it against you guys or against, like, for leverage or whatever. It's just, it's way different than self-custodying your own Bitcoin. So it's 100% a better idea to self-custody.
The second thing, though, is this kind of greater fool theory. One thing I always say to people is, what is the most valuable commodity in the world? In my opinion, it's computing power. Bitcoin is the strongest computer network in the world. And so when you're buying Bitcoin, you're buying an asset that is backed by the strongest commodity in the world. So when you start to think of it from that perspective, yes, it is internet native. Yes, it is for this kind of digital generation. But those people don't look at oil or gold or anything else as the most valuable commodity. They look at computing power, and that's why Bitcoin is so attractive to them.
Can I ask you a very simple?
And that's why AI is going to be attractive too. AI is going to be the next biggest thing after this.
Question. If I own Bitcoin through an ETF, do I have greater protection of my ownership of that Bitcoin interest than I did through some of the exchanges where I've heard some nasty stories?
That's a good question.
You definitely have the exposure, and obviously it's a regulated entity. You have the ETF structure, all the things that I think Wall Street really enjoys about the protections of those regulated funds. What you don't have, though, is direct exposure and ownership of Bitcoin itself. So one of the beauties of Bitcoin is similar to cash. You can go to the ATM, you can take the cash out of the machine. With Bitcoin, you can actually take self-custody. You can own it. You don't have to rely on any counterparty. You don't have to rely on an exchange. You don't have to rely on an ETF provider, et cetera. And so people have to ask themselves, what is my comfort level? Am I comfortable taking self-custody, or do I just want the financial exposure and I don't want to deal with that? And I think that that's where you're going to see a lot of people who have been sitting on the sidelines. Institutions, they can't take self-custody. They need the ETF to be able to actually allocate to the asset.
Hey, Anthony.
You know what, though? That's not what he asked. He asked if it was going to be safer than holding it on an exchange versus holding it like through BlackRock with the ETF. That's a very good question. I honestly have no idea. I've never been into ETFs, so I don't know how that works. I would assume to some extent, like, you know how like your bank account, you're like, I don't know, say you have millions of dollars in there, like you're good up until $250,000, and then the rest of it's like eat shit. Like, we don't, if you lose it, it's gone. Like, oh well, like you're bad, you leaked your information somewhere and you lost it, or we just decided to steal it and we're only giving you 250,000 back. There's like a clause in there, a little fine print saying that's all you're good for when you put your money in the bank, by the way, if you guys didn't know that. The Bitcoin ETF, I don't know if they're going to have something stating like, okay, we insure your Bitcoin up to X amount of dollars or X amount of value. That would be very, very neat to know.
The CoinDesk, The Block, a lot of different places are reporting on this Matrix Port report from an analyst who says that the SEC is going to say, forget it, they're going to reject the ETF, the spot Bitcoin ETF proposal. I know you think that's a real long shot. What would happen if they actually did do that, if the SEC said no?
If they approve it, I think that there will be a lot of short-term volatility, and then we'll kind of get right back on track, whether it goes up or down after the approval. If they reject it, I think the same thing would happen. There would be a lot of kind of short-term volatility, and we'd get right back on track. The beauty is with Bitcoin, if we go back, we saw something like this. China had over 60% of all mining inside of their borders. They completely banned mining and kicked them all out. 50% of the hash rate went offline. By the end of that year, May of 2021 is when it happened. By the end of 2021, mining hash rate was back to an all-time high. And so this thing is just resilient, it's anti-fragile, and it continues to just do what it was designed to do.
It's so true. And the biggest catalyst here is the halving that's coming up in April. It's not this ETF. This ETF is just like a white swan event, right? Like, it's a good thing. Well, it's a good thing and a bad thing for Bitcoin, depending on how you want to look at it. But the halving is the schedule that Bitcoin has. It's been tried and true, right? Every 4 years, we see some sort of bull bear cycle, right? And typically around whatever it is, 6 months, 8 months after the halving, that's when shit decides to start skyrocketing, right? So to each his own. Let me see. What are you guys saying in the chat real quick? I caught something. Let me see. Sorry, I missed something, and actually, it was a good point. Let's see. That's how they're going to sell these ETFs. He said it's safer than actual crypto. Criminals and degens use crypto, says Andrew Masad. That's actually, it's super true. You know, it's if they do have Bitcoin, you know, again, backed to a certain extent where it comes to like, you know, if it gets stolen or hacked out of them, like your Bitcoin's still good, essentially, right? They'll like still like reimburse you or whatever. If that is a thing, then yeah, they're absolutely going to use that as a plus, like, hey, come buy the ETF because we're gonna back your Bitcoin if it gets anything happens to it, you know.
That's true, although the risk reward, you know, the returns based per unit of volatility you cite, it really depends on the starting point. Right? I mean, 2.5 years ago, you were here, you were saying $100,000 really soon, we're going to get there on Bitcoin. And it's been nothing through this inflationary spike and a Fed tightening cycle.
I always say, look, at $8,000, right? I thought I was going to 100. It only went to 70. I was off by a little bit, right? But in terms of, I think these directional moves.
That's not off by much, actually. 70 is really not that far off from 8,000 to 70.
Again, it goes back to there is a lot of volatility here. Yeah. And I do think that the volatility will dampen as obviously ETFs and kind of more persistent, sticky holders come into the market. But remember, we aren't just talking about an ETF either. We also have the halving that's coming up at the beginning of Q2, and we've got to return back to loose monetary policy. And so I think that we're going to see a pretty significant move in Bitcoin. Just don't expect it to go from 45,000 to $1 million tomorrow.
Right. And that's a good point. We can't expect it to skyrocket like that. I think he's 100% correct on that. It's really going to be most likely a buy the rumor, sell the news event. When the ETF thing gets approved, we're going to see some sort of volatility, and then it's going to take some months or weeks, whatever the case may be, for the ETF to actually be approved, so you guys can go to BlackRock and be like, hey, we want to purchase this today, right? Like, even though the approval happens doesn't mean it's actually live on the marketplace or whatever they call it over there. All right, CNBC's Crypto World. Again, Bitcoin bounces back above 44,000 amid volatile start to the 2024 year. Let's do it.
Today, Bitcoin bounces back after yesterday's tumble of more than 5%. Kathy Wood's ARK Invest offloads more Coinbase shares. And Ari Redboard of TRM Labs takes a look back at last year's court hearings and trials against some of the biggest names in the industry and discusses what to expect in 2024.
Exciting, guys. Hit that like button. Appreciate you for hanging out.
Welcome to CNBC's Crypto World. I'm Jordan Smith. Crypto prices in the green this morning amid a volatile week for digital assets. As of noon Eastern, Bitcoin climbed nearly 3%, inching closer to $44,000. Both Ether and Solana rose about 2.5%, with Solana's Sol token crossing the $100 level once again. Crypto-focused stocks followed Bitcoin's momentum today, with Coinbase and MicroStrategy rising about 4% as of noon Eastern after being in the red yesterday. The Bitcoin miners performed even better this morning, with Marathon soaring nearly 8%. All right, let's talk about the top stories. Traders are on alert as the January 10th deadline to approve spot Bitcoin ETFs approaches. Pomp Investments founder Anthony Pompliano joined CNBC's Squawk Box this morning to discuss the various regulatory outcomes that could affect crypto trades. He addressed what's behind all the hype surrounding the potential for a spot Bitcoin ETF to launch in the US soon. He also had a warning for Wall Street investors.
Wall Street is getting invited in anticipation of the greatest show on earth. Right? Bitcoin has been the best performing asset for the last 15 years, and Wall Street's basically been boxed out of it. They haven't had access to this asset. And so I think that's what you're seeing in that pent up excitement. One thing that I do caution these Wall Street investors is you can't trade this like other assets. We saw just yesterday about $1 billion of open interest got wiped out. The guys over at Reflexivity Research did a fantastic job outlining, saying, you know, this asset in 2021 went up almost 800% from before the pandemic started to the kind of the top of the market. Yeah. During that time, there was 30% drawdowns. If you're going to try to get levered long and think that, hey, ETF gets approved and this thing just goes to the moon, you're likely to get shaken out or get liquidated.
You're going to get wrecked if they try trading like that. But yeah, Pomp is all over pretty much every channel this morning. This is pretty much the only news really that was out there.
Pompliano also addressed reports that crypto investment services provider Matrixport expects that the SEC will reject all spot Bitcoin ETF applications and discuss what would happen to Bitcoin's price if the SEC were to deny or approve those applications.
If they approve it, I think that there will be a lot of short-term volatility, and then we'll kind of get right back on track, whether it goes up or down after the approval. If they reject it, I think the same thing would happen. There would be a lot of kind of short-term volatility, and we'd get right back on track. The beauty is with Bitcoin, if we go back, we saw something like this. China had over 60% of all mining inside of their borders. They completely banned mining and kicked them all out. 50% of the hash rate went offline. By the end of that year, May of 2021 is when it happened. By the end of 2021, mining hash rate was back to an all-time high.
And they ban it now. All like literally every Bitcoin ASIC is made in China, and then shipped out of China or in like an underground facility somewhere, just so you guys know.
And so this thing is just resilient, it's anti-fragile, and it continues to just do what it was designed to do.
Next, CoinDesk reports that Goldman Sachs wants to help BlackRock and Grayscale with their proposed spot Bitcoin ETFs. The banking giant reportedly wants to be an authorized participant, which are firms that help with the creation of shares and the redemption process for ETFs. This report comes about a week after BlackRock and other spot Bitcoin ETF applicants included APs and updated registration forms for their proposals, with JP Morgan and Jane Street named in BlackRock's filing. We reached out to Goldman Sachs and a spokesperson declined to comment. Last, Cathie Wood's ARK Invest sold more than 166,000 Coinbase shares worth more than $25 million from 2 of its ETFs. The move comes 1 week after ARK sold shares of Coinbase worth more than $27 million and dumped the remainder of its Grayscale holdings. We spoke with Cathie Wood last week, and she said the recent moves to offload millions of dollars worth of Grayscale Bitcoin Trust and Coinbase shares are essentially portfolio management. The change in holdings comes ahead of the much anticipated decision by the SEC on spot Bitcoin ETFs. The first deadline is for ARK 21 shares, and last week, Wood said that ARK believes the probability of an approval has gone up because the SEC has been, quote, highly engaged compared to what was happening before.
Well, it's because Gensler's tired of getting dunked on. Like every court case and everything that he denies is making him look just worse and worse to the board.
All right, for our main story, we're talking all about crypto crime. 2023 was a year of court hearings and sentencings for some of the biggest names in the industry. So as the year was wrapping up, I spoke with Ari Redboard of TRM Labs about Sam Bankman-Fried, CZ, and whether we can expect more crypto-focused trials in 2024.
So I think we have to start this conversation with the Sam Bankman-Fried trial, not because that was an issue specific to crypto. Fraud and conspiracy happen in any business. But I think that case was really held up as putting the entire industry on trial this year. And now that we're a few weeks away from that verdict, what do you think that argument has held up? I mean, where does the crypto industry stand in regard to the SBF trial?
Yeah, look, it's really extraordinary. I think we've talked about this before. Look, none of the fraud in the FTX case occurred on blockchains, right? It occurred in the same places that fraud has occurred for generations, in the sort of opaque quarters of financial institutions, right? The issue, though, is because crypto was involved, it obviously becomes a referendum on cryptocurrency, on the crypto industry. A couple things still stand out to me about the case, though. First and foremost, the speed, right? I mean, it was absolutely extraordinary how quickly this case moved. I mean, it was basically...
He's not wrong. It did go super fast from like, when it happened to when he got arrested to when like he was convicted. It was so
a year
fast.
ago, right? It was November of last year that FTX collapsed. I mean, when we were just crossing the into 2023, FTX was the story. The collapse of FTX was the story. And to have a guilty verdict at trial when extradition was involved, millions of pages of documents, 3 cooperating witnesses that all had to plead guilty themselves, that all had to, cooperate with the government. So this case moved so quickly. And I would argue in part, it was actually because, prosecutors were able to quickly, understand the evidence in the case, because you had very, very, frankly, good cooperating witnesses, and you had a judge that wanted to move the trial along. And I think from a crypto industry perspective, I think that definitely people are very happy to have this case behind them in 2023, mostly because it created, a regulatory storm, or a storm from policymakers who were using FTX, even though it wasn't about crypto per se, to talk about sort of broader regulation in the industry.
You know how crazy it is to think about, like, again, it did go super fast, right? And they got him like behind bars, whatever. They're not going to do the second trial. But do you guys honestly think it's a greater scheme behind things where it comes to like just tinfoil hat stuff, right? BlackRock, one of the biggest financial institutions on the planet, like that news with Sam Bankman-Fried, like they want to keep him out of the press because talking any shit about Bitcoin trying to launch the CTF isn't going to make them look any better to some people, right? It's going to scare the shit out of some. It's just one of those things to think about. I wonder if there's like a bigger scheme behind the scenes that nobody's getting, besides the big guys.
Yeah. I also want to move to Binance, which is sort of perfect to talk about right after SBF because of how closely tied those businesses and those founders were. We're still in progress in that settlement and a potential sentencing for CZ in 2024. But my question is, what's the takeaway from that settlement where the crypto industry's argument is that it can sort of avoid consequences in certain jurisdictions? Does that argument still hold water both now and heading into 2024?
Yeah, look, I think that understanding sort of the ways people have lumped up together two of the largest exchanges of their time and all these sorts of issues, I think they're very, very different cases. And particularly the criminal case involving CZ is very, very different from the criminal case involving Sam Bankman-Fried. First of all, FTX was a house of cards, right? That collapsed, and then a criminal case sort of began. Ultimately, what this settlement allows is for Binance to continue operating, to build compliance controls.
So Binance didn't do anything with like funds, right? He wasn't like commingling funds between exchanges or anything along those lines. He wasn't doing anything wrong inside his exchange other than allowing U.S. citizens to trade on his platform, and he wasn't in the U.S., right? As far as I know, they probably weren't like reporting certain things, but is what it is. FTX was actually commingling funds and stealing shit and losing people's money and actually paying politicians off to, you know, get further in life. So there's a very, very big difference there.
To sort of meet the moment, meet the requirements that are going to be set up for it by the U.S. Treasury and others. So it's, on the one hand, you have the collapse of a cryptocurrency business. Here you have a massive fine, but the ability for the crypto business to build compliance and move forward. From a pure criminal perspective, I spent about 11 years as at AUSA as a federal prosecutor. And the cases are really interesting because it shows, on the one hand, where someone did not cooperate, did not accept responsibility, took the government to trial, and denied all responsibility, ultimately lost, and now is staring down the barrel of a very, very long sentence. That's in the SBF case. In the CZ case, you have something entirely different, right? You have lawyers who apparently came in, the defendant came in, met with prosecutors, cooperated with the government, ultimately came to the U.S. willingly from a jurisdiction that would not extradite him likely, and now is looking at a much lesser sentence, if any sort of time served at all. So I say all of that to say, as an AUSA, it is very different to have a defendant that forces the issue than one that cooperated, and the one that cooperated is going to be treated much better, especially when you're accepting responsibility, which it seems like he's done in this case, that CZ has done in this case.
Well, not to mention CZ has millions of dollars, or billions of dollars rather, and he really didn't do anything compared to what Sam Bankman-Fried did.
That we've been tracking a lot this year is Do Kwon in the Terra Luna case, which precipitated so much of the issues that we saw in 2022 that we're still dealing with in 2023. We just found out recently that the appeal process in his extradition has met a hiccup. It could potentially be delayed. What do you make of the cooperation between jurisdictions, between the U.S. and other countries, in terms of prosecuting these criminal cases, these crypto cases? How much work still needs to be done there to make that work around the world?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the promise of cryptocurrency is this idea of cross-border value transfer at the speed of the internet. But when you're talking about, the criminal justice system, it creates a lot of issues potentially. Interestingly, all three of these cases that we're talking about today involve extradition in one way or another. How to go get that individual from another country. You had ultimately Sam Bankman-Fried fight and then eventually waive extradition rather, I think within 24 hours or less. In the Bahamas, obviously you had CZ come willingly to the U.S. from the UAE. And then
didn't the Bahamian government grab Sam Bankman-Fried, if I'm not mistaken? I think they took him into custody. I don't think he had much of a choice. It's either you're staying in jail there or you're coming here. It's one or the other.
Finally, Do Kwon, who's fighting extradition currently in Montenegro. And the question for him is whether he ends up going to Korea, which is asked for his extradition, or the United States. And we'll kind of see how that plays out.
If he goes to Korea, he is fucked.
But I think that, look, the nature of cryptocurrency, which is everywhere, it means that you're going to need more and more international cooperation. I will say that you do see that, and you saw it in 2023 in the cases, right? You see so many cases, Hydra and darknet markets, and some of these large treasury actions, DOJ actions. A lot of them involve foreign counterparts. So you're seeing it happen where you're seeing global law enforcement cooperate cross border, but it's still very early, and I think we're going to see more and more of that.
Yeah, a little more forward looking. Do you think prosecutors are headed into the new year feeling more emboldened to take on these crypto businesses or individuals, or maybe take on some of these more complicated cases that require the extradition that require so much of that research or back end effort? Or are we in a place where it's still uncertain?
You know, I think what's interesting is we're seeing the ecosystem evolve, right? And it's the lawful crypto ecosystem. It's growing, and as the year ends, 2023, I think we're seeing tremendous growth in the space. We're seeing institutions get involved. That means we're going to see more and more crypto in criminal cases, in criminal prosecutions, because bad actors always follow the money, and there's going to be more and more transactions in crypto. What we've seen over the last decade really is a cadre of U.S. and global law enforcement who are tracers, who use tools like TRM to trace and track the flow of funds and build investigations. The Department of Justice today has a national cryptocurrency enforcement team. I think that at some point, every prosecutor is going to need to understand how to track and trace crypto. Every investigator is going to understand how to track and trace crypto, because just like cash, crypto will be in every case. And I think we're just starting to see that. TRM recently did a study with mostly US law enforcement, but globally. And it basically says that we're seeing more and more crypto in cases today. And I think that's a trend that we're going to continue. The IRSCI, one of the most important investigators in the crypto space, just did their sort of top 10, their billboard charts of money laundering crimes in 2023, or money laundering cases. 4 of the top 10 involve cryptocurrency. So the reality is we're seeing more crypto in cases, and prosecutors and law enforcement are needing the tools and the training to track and trace those funds. So to answer your question, I think we're going to see a lot more of this, but we're going to see more and more expertise also from law enforcement.
Interesting.
All right, that's all for Crypto World today, but we'll be back.
Shout out to CNBC Crypto World. All right, let's get into over here, Mr. Austin over at Altcoin Daily Alert, BlackRock Bitcoin ETF update. What's coming next? Again, taking clips from Anthony Pomp. If you guys missed this, go check out the CNBC clip. I played it at the beginning of this video. Hit that like button, guys. Appreciate you for hanging out. Let's do it.
Bitcoin has been the best performing asset for the last 15 years, and Wall Street's basically been boxed out of it. They haven't had access to this asset.
11 plus spot Bitcoin ETFs are days away from launching.
There was never anything like this anticipation. The oil ETF, the gold trust. We don't talk about ETF launches and who the authorized participants are. This is bureaucratic back office stuff.
Like gold before it, this will be a catalyst.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at that run up with gold in the spot ETF for gold. Obviously, this took years, right, for it to happen. But 2030 is going to be insane for Bitcoin. Just wait.
Bitcoin has never seen. Interest for the Bitcoin ETF is greater than the interest for the gold ETF back in 2004, meaning institutional demand is about to go from 0 to multi-billion.
Wall Street is getting invited in anticipation of the greatest show on earth.
This is all on a capped supply asset whose supply flow is just about to be cut in half. The degree of anticipation for all of this,
I love how he's got this family on the couch watching this video.
seems like a lot.
There was never anything like this anticipation.
Is the BlackRock ETF already priced in?
One thing that I do caution these Wall Street investors.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about what happened with prior
What do you guys think? You guys think it's priced in? There's no way. No way.
ETF launches and how
maybe to some extent, but not anything like, normal.
This time with Bitcoin, some things are the same, some things are very different.
All of which is to say the degree of anticipation of this and how it's made its way into the market is extreme. How is it not just a anticlimax when it happens?
Copy the link to this video, send this video to somebody interested in Bitcoin. BlackRock's ETF is not priced in. Bitcoin expert Anthony Pompliano here explains why.
Traders are on alert as we get closer to the SEC's January 10th deadline to approve spot Bitcoin ETFs. Joining us now with more on the various regulatory outcomes that could impact crypto trades, Anthony Pompliano, founder and partner at Pomp Investment. Anthony, good to see you this morning.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So I have to just dial back. I go back to when the SPY was listed 30 plus years ago. I covered it then. The USO, the oil ETF, the gold trust in 04 and 06. There was never anything like this anticipation. We don't talk about ETF launches and who the authorized participants are. This is bureaucratic back office stuff. It's just how the trades function. So all of which is to say the degree of anticipation of this and how it's made its way into the market is extreme. How is it not just a anticlimax when it happens?
Wall Street is getting invited in anticipation of the greatest show on earth. Right? Bitcoin has been the best performing asset for the last 15 years, and Wall Street's basically been boxed out of it. They haven't had access to this asset. And so I think that's what you're seeing in that pent up excitement. One thing that I do caution these Wall Street investors.
The Bitcoin spot ETFs are not priced in. Sure, you and me and people who are in crypto and people who subscribe to our channel, we are very excited about it. There is a lot of anticipation among those who know, but who actually knows? Check out this data.
Nobody.
The findings are in. We surveyed 437 financial advisors across the nation to gauge their views on crypto assets. Here's what they had to say. Less than half of all advisors expect a spot Bitcoin ETF in 2024. Huh, that's weird.
What?
Do they not follow us? In a surprising development, only 39% of advisors believe a spot Bitcoin ETF will be approved by 2024.
You know what? I'm gonna be honest. I don't think it's gonna get approved in the next week. I don't. I don't know what's gonna happen, but nobody knows.
You and me know, and people in the know, like the experts, like the Bloomberg ETF analysts, we understand things are looking very good. Actually, a 90% plus chance this all gets approved. Yet only 39% of financial advisors believe it. However, the vast majority of these financial advisors see the spot Bitcoin ETF approval as a major catalyst. 88% of advisors interested in purchasing Bitcoin are waiting until after a spot Bitcoin ETF is approved. So the majority of financial advisors and institutions do not believe the spot Bitcoin ETFs will be approved in 2024. Yet, when the ETFs are approved, 88% of these advisors say that they're planning to purchase Bitcoin for the first time. And once wealth advisors and once institutions invest in Bitcoin, you tend to stay invested in Bitcoin or even invest more.
That's very true.
98% of advisors who currently already have an allocation to crypto in client accounts plan to either maintain or increase that exposure in 2024.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. People that are in crypto typically don't just get out of crypto, right? You end up holding it long term. There's like, it's crazy how long people have actually held their crypto. I mean, I have a ledger that I haven't touched in like 3-4 years. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just one of those things. You want to keep the wealth going as long as you can, and why not get the gains? It's just going to increase over time.
So the thing that you're missing, the thing that most people are missing about the spot Bitcoin ETFs is that this isn't just something that happens in January. This is a cross the Rubicon moment. Crypto will have a long-awaited wedge into the mainstream global financial system. That won't unhappen. Mass crypto adoption is inevitable with this step.
See, the best thing I think about this ETF is the fact that BlackRock actually has to purchase the Bitcoin in the background to fulfill the orders of the ETF with people coming in. That's obviously a real good thing.
Just a question of time horizon. And the fact that all these institutions and financial advisors don't expect an approval in 2024, not gonna lie, this is very surprising to me, says James Seyfarth, Bloomberg analyst, particularly because of all this media coverage we've been seeing.
One thing that I do caution these Wall Street investors is you can't trade this like other assets. We saw just yesterday about $1 billion of open interest got wiped out. The guys over at Reflexivity Research did a fantastic job outlining, saying, this asset in 2021 went up almost 800% from before the pandemic started to the kind of the top of the market.
Yeah.
During that time, there was 30% drawdowns. If you're going to try to get levered long and think that, hey, ETF gets approved and this thing just goes to the moon, you're likely to get shaken out or get liquidated.
That is really good advice. Just beware the volatility that comes.
I mean, this thing is on a risk return basis, it's by far the most.
I just want to know why Karen's always so upset, this lady right here. She's always like just so bitchy.
Attractive asset in all the financial markets.
She can say something nice as hell, and she just sounds like so pissed off all the time.
But it comes with tons and tons of volatility. And so if you go back to 2017, it was $1,000. We're up 45x since 2017. But along the way, we've had 2 80% drawdowns, a plethora. I can't even count how many, 30+% drawdowns. And so Wall Street is saying, hey, the ETF's coming. Here we go. Now, I do think over a long period of time, Bitcoin's price is going to continue to go up. We're going to have a persistent bid from all these ETFs. Another thing people aren't talking about, everyone's talking about the primary fund flows. So retail or institutions buying this ETF. But actually what we're starting to see now is other publicly listed funds or ETFs are changing their prospectus to say that they can put up to 15% of their AUM in the Bitcoin ETF. So if you have the best performing asset and you got an ETF that's lagging, why would you not put Bitcoin in your ETF?
ETFs were obviously huge for the price of gold. After the ETFs were approved, gold's price shot up, never went this low again.
Again, because these companies needed to purchase the gold to back it.
I think it's possible that these ETFs will be even a more bullish catalyst for Bitcoin. I think it's possible that Bitcoin does this, but even bigger. So we're in a unique period of time where any of these ETFs, in fact, every one of these ETFs could get approved today, tomorrow, next week. Sources are even reporting that multiple Bitcoin ETFs will be approved at once and to expect something tomorrow. Certainly possible.
So tomorrow as in today, because what, Friday, right? It would make sense. Then they could just sleep over it over the weekend and figure shit out. Wednesday would be the 10th, right? If I'm not mistaken, next week. So that's when the deadline is. We'll see what happens.
I bet is still Monday, January 8th. It is the Monday before the 10th deadline. Any day between the 8th or the 10th, the 8th, 9th, or 10th makes the most sense to me. This is when I think the ETF will get approved. And by the way, there's so many signals.
What do you guys think? What do you think the price is going to be? Put it in the chat. Just like guesstimate price for if this ETF does get approved next week. What do you think?
Coming from the SEC that these will get approved. So if the ETFs, for whatever reason, are not approved by the 10th, I would have to expect that a criminal investigation would open up against the SEC.
50K, 60K, 125K, 10R. Bruh. Come on, man. No way. Not going to go that high. That's crazy. 50K. Yeah, I think 50K, 55 is not out of the realm of possibilities, but I think we're going to see a sharp decline right after that if it does happen.
For market manipulation. Or are they exempt from this sort of thing? The mainstream media is just starting to really talk about the impact of the halving and the BlackRock ETF. By the way, if you've made it this far in the video, type BlackRock ETF in the comments. If you're interested in making money in cryptocurrency, make sure you subscribe to our channel. I'm so excited about 2024. It's going
so excited. I'm excited too. Mr. Altcoin Daily, Mr. Austin over there. Appreciate you. All right, let's get into the recap segment of things before we get out of here. Let's check out Bitcoin. As of right now is 44,000. If we do get an approval over here with the ETF next week at some point, I don't know. Again, like I said, I don't see 50K, 55K out of the realm of possibilities, but I think we're going to come back down. I think we're going to have a giant shakeout, and it's going to scare the shit out of a lot of people. And then it's going to just ride out until April, where April halving happens, and then the normal cycle will continue, at least in my opinion. I don't know what you guys think, but that's where I'm going with it. Patrick Murphy says $54,998. All right, price is right. He's going a dollar under, Bob. RIP. Let's see what else we got. What else we got in here? Charles says traditionally it goes higher every 4. And it's at 44 now. Hold on. Traditionally it goes higher every 4. Oh, so you're thinking like, I'm confused. I wish I knew what you were saying. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You lost me. I was trying to figure it out, but are you saying like 48,000? Is that what you're saying? 60 and then back to 50. Interesting. The price rate will go bonkers. Yeah, dude, 100%. It's gonna go nuts. See, and well, there's two sides, right? Like it could go nuts or it could just not move at all. We don't know. It's really just, it's a total shot in the dark, because obviously with the price from all right, let's actually, you know what, let's go to where we at. Again, these charts are ass when it comes to Bitcoin, but let's just see. Let's check out the last year. Like, don't be fooled. You guys think that BlackRock wasn't purchasing this entire time to get their bags ready for this approval, right? I mean, they knew they were getting into this, what, May-ish or something? I don't know, somewhere around here they started applying, right? Midway through last year. We're looking like 26,000, and then I would assume it was probably right here where they actually started buying. 26 to, you know, we're up now 44, right? It's almost 2x. It's almost literally almost a 2x from where we were. It's I lied, it's not, a little under 2x, but you guys get the gist. We're up almost $20,000 since, right? And then obviously, like, what else was driving this rally, I guess, it's besides the anticipation of the Bitcoin ETF? Really nothing else. There really wasn't anything else. SBF kind of just fell off once he got convicted, which was what, September-ish, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I think it was September. but don't quote me. Let's see, 30K dip, 90K all-time high, says Jason Mining. That's actually a pretty good guesstimate. I would probably assume there too, if we break 100K, we're gonna go up to 120 if I had to guess, or so, or close to it. But who knows? CCXD, is there any restriction for BlackRock to purchase Bitcoin on the market or off market? Honestly, I don't know. Fully Electric, that's a good question. I really don't know. I have no idea what their rules are for them purchasing. I don't see why it would be. Well, they have so their custodian, the person that they have labeled as their like custodial partner is Coinbase. So Coinbase, I don't know what the rules are between them two purchasing, or BlackRock purchasing from Coinbase. I don't know what's going on there, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if we were buying while JP saying stay away. Oh yeah, no, JP Morgan's definitely buying in the background. Like, they're labeled in their S1 form now. There's no way they're not. They haven't been purchasing in the background, their company. Like, Jamie Dimon's a lying sack of shit. I don't care what anyone says. Like, he is a shady character, but he likes money, and that's what money will do to you. It's basically he wants you to do what he says, not what he does. In reality, you should be doing the opposite. Let's see. I don't think so, because this halving, we will have the ETFs for the first time, so more retail holders of the ETF. I think we are not going to have a large pullback. Dan R though. So the thing with that, there is way bigger people than, say, BlackRock in this situation that have a lot of Bitcoin that can actually really move the market, right? And there are going to be people that were in this forever, a long time, since, like, you know, this thing first came out, and people have been holding ever since. They could absolutely dump it on these noobs, right? And then just buy it back up, and guess what? Now you guys get shaking out a whole bunch of brand new investors. Now we're gonna get scared and jump out of it. So there's two sides. It could just go to the moon, or it'll have a reality check from somebody big in the space will just dump and then buy right back in. And then guess what? Scared the shit out of a bunch of people jump out, and we stay down for a little bit longer than we should. But who knows? I mean, nobody really knows at the end of the day. All right, let's see what's trending over here. Trending Celestia looks like it's trending over here on CoinGecko. We have OVR, and then Happy. Look at this. This is another meme coin. 49%, 49.4. What the hell is this? Ranked 938. Just want to check out a couple new coins before we get out of here. I got a jet back to daddy duty soon, but is anybody into this? Happy? $27.41. It's up 49% the last 24 hours. It's crazy. That's absurd. What is this? It's on the ETH chain. Interesting. Weird coin. Maybe 25K. I don't know if it'll go to 25. 30 would be pretty close. I mean, I don't know. I would probably guess like 35-ish if I had to guess. That would be my guess on some sort of pullback. All right, let's go back. Let's see. What is this one? OVR. OVR is up 18.5%, 34 cents. Ranked 993, just into the top 1,000. Let's see. Market cap 17 million. This one's kind of low, huh? It's another ETH coin. Let's see. Damn. Crazy from 29 cents up to the 34. Not too bad. Let's see. CCXD. How is a People Coin doing? People Coin? What the hell's People Coin? People Coin. Holy Electric's an OG. Is this one right here? The People's Coin? People's Money? What the hell? Bruh. What is this? I've never heard of this. Is this what it is? Is this what you're talking about? People's Coin? I've never heard of this in my life. I guess depending on the size of the dump. Yeah, for sure. Good morning, Caveman. Good morning. Good to see you. Thanks for being here, buddy. Appreciate you. Oh, look at this. This thing is shit. It looks terrible, but it's really not that bad. It's like less than a penny. Way less than a penny. It's less than half a penny. It's not a lot at all. Let's see. I swear to God, I just surfed the coin list apparently. Don't look at ETC Pow. Oh God. Crypto KJ's talking, you know it's bad. You know he lost a lot of money. That rope is getting shorter and shorter, buddy. Ugh. 47 cents. That's terrible. 47 cents. This project, I don't know what's happening with it. Probably a lot of scammers, to be honest. Probably a lot of scammers. But yeah, it's man, nosedive to 43, huh? Jesus Christ. All-time low is only 24 cents. Man, this shit is like real close. It's teetering, getting down there. That's nuts. Wow, check out DETF. DETF, what is that? DETF. Decentralized ETF. 1314. Up 26%. 8 cents, 8.5 cents. Interesting. $8 million market cap. Neat. Neato. What is this coin? Let's see. Oh, look, it didn't start up here and like completely shit. I don't know what this is. I have no idea what this is, but I'll look into it. DETF. Interesting. I'll have to check this one out. That's pretty neat. Another on the ETH chain, another coin on the ETH chain. All right, let's see what's Dynex looking like. Dynex Marketplace, guys. If you haven't checked it out, it's pretty neat. You guys can do some AI computing with Dynex over on their marketplace. 66 cents, down 5.1%. Man, Dynex been taking a hit lately too, but honestly, everything has been. I think everything's really just kind of flowing into Bitcoin. Everything's just kind of flowing into the top coins. Obviously, anticipation of the ETF. Solana's been holding up really well, though. It's over $100 still. Holding really well. All right, guys, I gotta get out of here. Unfortunately, it is daddy duty. And you know, with Friday, I gotta leave you guys with this. So hopefully you guys have a great, happy, and safe Friday. I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. I'm gonna try to go 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I might be 9 o'clock as normal, but I guess we'll have to see. Until next time, guys, have a good day and peace out.
I wanna hold on till I can't no more.
Happy Friday, guys. Peace, peace.